Well, welcome, Premier-elect. How does that feel to hear those words?
Oh, it's still very surreal. I mean, it's only been a matter of hours, but it feels humbling. It feels like such a privilege to have this opportunity to serve New Brunswickers.
You made history last night in front of three little girls. How was that for you as a mom, as a woman, as a person who's just made history?
Look, I mean, I used to be one of those little girls that wanted to see a woman leading my province and worked for this for other people and for it to be me and for my girls to be so much a part of it. I mean, it's really emotional. Like you look at their beautiful faces and you look at how they're trying to process it. And I mean, there's fear, right? There's fear in there right away about how we'll all be able to handle this, but we're also feeling a lot of love from New Brunswick and from our village and community that I know people will help us keep these girls safe.
And that was very much prominent last night. Why was it so important for you to do that?
Oh, because this is a choice that I've made that they're stuck with. And I don't want people to go after both of them as the story. Um, and I'd love for just people to keep in mind um, that politics can be really ugly, but that it shouldn't be. And when you think about the fact that there are little kids everywhere watching all of us and what we do and say, I just thought it was my chance to ask people to provide some grace to my family and something that all kids in New Brunswick deserve.
One of the big focuses for you was, our healthcare system, and you announced an awful lot of things throughout the campaign. How are you going to, I guess, meet those promises now going forward? Because these are not small. This is not just a few little things that you have to change, and here we have a clinic. How are you going to meet those challenges, those promises that you threw out during the campaign?
Well, you said it bang on, Theresa. The healthcare system is not something that can be fixed with small little changes, right? New Brunswickers have told us in every community that the system is broken. It's not working for them. They're having to go way too far to get access to care, wait way too long. And so we have to do a major transformation of our primary care system because every New Brunswicker deserves to have access to a family doctor, a nurse, a team of people that are going to take care of them. So we have to start right away to change the model of how we deliver primary care, change how we pay for it, what that looks like and feels like. But the good news is that everyone is aligned. All three political parties that are in the legislature, nurse practitioners, doctors, physios, pharmacists, everybody agrees this is the model. Team-based collaborative care in community, preventative, with multiple professionals who can share a group of patients, share the information and technology. That's what everyone agrees is the way forward. And so working with all those professionals who want this in order to stay in primary care, in order to come to primary care, this model is the way forward, and so we are going to get after it aggressively. And as we deliver better preventative and primary care, we're going to save money in the hospital where way too many people are going because they have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
They're in ERs because there's nowhere else to go, and that's expensive. So I think this transformation of primary care is actually going to help save us on the other side of the healthcare system and give better care to New Brunswickers.
We went blue here in Western New Brunswick. How are you going to approach working with the opposite side of the house?
Well, I'm going to approach it with New Brunswickers in mind, right? The people of your community deserve to have the same access to healthcare as the people in a community that voted differently. And their partisanship shouldn't affect their access to government services or the investment in their schools or their roads or what have you. So we're going to strive to build solid relationships with every one of the 48 other members of the legislature, and to build the relationships with the people in community, right? That's municipalities, mayors and councillors play critical roles and should be much closer partners with the provincial government than they are. We see lots of leadership in community from not-for-profits, community organizations, entrepreneurs. There's people out there that want to contribute to improving things in New Brunswick and are waiting for a government that will open the door, get out of the office, get into community, and work with the people on the ground, to get the right healthcare solution in place, in the right place with the right people. So we're not going to let how people voted affect our service to New Brunswickers. And my whole team of elected MLAs knows that it's their job to get out of the office, to get out of their ridings, and to make sure that we're constantly connecting with community, building those partnerships, understanding what people need, and making sure it's a very equitable approach to governing this province, top to bottom, corner to corner.
There was a lot of hope in you becoming premier from the Indigenous communities. What are your priorities for them?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of trust that needs to be rebuilt, because it's been broken and beaten over the last 6 years. And so I've been doing some of that work to date, is building relationships, going into community to get to know the different chiefs, councils, community members. But there's two major things we need to tackle, right? We have to put ta new tax agreements in place to allow for the kind of autonomy and um, direction that First Nations communities should have. And then we have got to tackle the land claim cases. And I know that the chiefs I've spoken with, they want to get that out of the courts. They want to get it back to the table where we can have conversations, to find a path forward, not legal battles. And so
Because
there's
they're
a lot of work
expensive.
to do. Yeah, oh yeah. We've seen the government has spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on this already. And for what? It's not been in the best interest of New Brunswickers. So we've got work to do.
And on the education piece, we've heard over and over and over again about Policy 713. Where are you going with that?
Well, we're listening to the child and youth advocate whose job it is to do the work, and recommended a policy to move forward that's very much like the one that Mr. Higgs and crew put in place originally. But we have to recognize the fear that people have expressed. I can understand the feeling as a parent of wanting to know what's going on with my kids in school. And so I want to reassure folks that that a whole government is going to have a connection between teachers and parents, and that has always been the case and is not going to change. Teachers and parents need to have good, open communication about what's happening with kids in schools, and that has always been the way, no matter what misinformation was attempted around this policy. But we are also going to make sure that those vulnerable kids that don't have a safe place to be are protected. We have to do both of those things. And so we're going to put in place the recommended version of Policy 713 that makes sure that both of those things can happen.
What is your vision as a female, as a woman, heading into this? Nobody would ask Blaine Higgs when he ran, how are you going to handle work-life balance? But lots of people will ask you that. I'm just wondering your kind of philosophy related to treating you differently, because people will. It'll just happen. How are you going to handle that? And what will
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah, I mean, like we gotta, I appreciate that people maybe wonder, but like a lot of people are juggling a lot of things in New Brunswick, whether it's trying to care for their parents and trying to deliver on their job and trying to be a partner to their spouse and a parent to their kids and looking after their own health. And like everybody's juggling a lot of stuff. And I all of a sudden have maybe more support now than I've ever had in terms of a team of people to help me try to continue to live a healthy and balanced life. I have a phenomenal partner, and we are very lucky to have all four of our kids' grandparents alive and well and supporting us. But I mean, I'm no different than any other New Brunswicker that is trying to balance all the different pieces of their life. And maybe I do it more visibly, I guess. But yeah, I this is the reality of the modern world, right? Women, men, and others are trying to make it all work, and trying to have a good balance in their lives. Something that we need to bring to the government of New Brunswick actually is more balance, between all of the sides of what government needs to do to serve New Brunswickers.
They're here. Last night, Mr. Carr on CBC television said that Blaine Higgs owed you an apology related to the type of campaign that was run. How do you feel about the campaign that was basically against you throughout this last 30 days?
Well, I think New Brunswickers showed that team what they thought of that campaign. New Brunswickers are good neighbors. We're a humble, friendly place, that we're not interested in what's happening behind other people's closed doors, but we are also really proud of the fact that we're the only bilingual province in Canada, that we have a rich history and different communities in every corner. And so I think that the result last night showed, hopefully, the team behind that campaign and the rest of Canada, that's not the way forward for politics or campaigns. Not with the people who are proud, and kind, and want to see governments bring people together and lead with empathy and with respect.
All right, last question. What were the first thoughts when you opened your eyes this morning being premier-elect? Coffee?
Oh gosh. I think it was like the sound of my phone going off, right? And I mean, there was a just a deep sense of pride and of responsibility to deliver for this province that I love, but an excitement. I mean, the weight of the responsibility feels big. There are so many crises that we have to tackle. Um, but I feel so grateful to have the opportunity to tackle it with an amazing team of 30 other MLAs and all 48 of us, all 49 of us that will be in the legislature. It's it's hard to explain the feeling, but I I,
You
I
made
feel
history.
humbled. Yeah, yeah, I feel humbled and I feel really lucky.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time. We know you're busy, but congratulations. We look forward to many more interviews with you, and thanks again
Yeah.
for taking time for us today.
Yes, thank you, Theresa. Thank you for what you're doing to get news and local news and information out, to your community. Really appreciate the chance to talk with you.